Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Season 3 of the Two Bobs cast. We made it. Season 3. That's episode 75.
And we did not have the intro start again. That's the first time we've done that in a while. Awesome.
Absolutely awesome. So we're here. We're here starting at A again.
And right now.
And we are the Two Bobs cast. We're an A to Z rock and metal podcast. Coming to you live almost every Tuesday or so. Breaking down an album or breaking down a band's albums, ranking them down from last to first to last. And we are here with the man. His name is H.
That's you. Oh.
No, you're H.
Yeah.
I'm the herd. No.
You're the group of man.
I mean, sometimes I guess. I don't know. We'll see. So, Mr. H, how are you, bud? What's going on?
I'm here. Things are good. Weather's nice.
It is.
Basically, all the sports are over except baseball and the World Cup, if you're into that. And I am.
If you're into that. Yep. A lot of people are into that.
Way better so far than it usually is, it seems like, for me. So lots of competitive. That's awesome. Games. But anyway, yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. We have good music to listen to. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I was just going to say Knicks won the title.
Skip over that. Just go to
Hurricanes won the title, which I am an de facto fan of theirs. I kind of jumped on their bandwagon just from towards the end of the year. I don't know. That's all I got. But I did watch almost all their games, and they were a lot of fun, and they deserved it. They were 17-2, I think, during the playoffs or something like that. Or 16. I think you have to win 16, right? So
yeah,
16-2. I think they were in the totality of playoffs. So I think that was awesome.
So they swept all of them until Vegas, huh?
Yep.
They just gave up 2 to Vegas. Okay. Nice.
That's it.
They were down 2-1 to Vegas, too. They had to win 3 in a row.
Yeah, but it didn't end up probably being, but after like the first 4 games, I know we all had said, like, this has to be the best finals of all time.
Yeah.
Every one was like, somebody would jump out ahead, and then somebody would come back, and then they would go into overtime, and then, obviously somebody would win in overtime, but like every game was like that.
Of the 6 games, it was the craziest finals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Without going 7 and it being like, going overtime or going to the end of the game, I can't see it being the best finals. But man, it was definitely the craziest one I've ever seen. Like the comebacks and the 4 goals and then 4 goals the next period, and the no 2-goal lead was safe. Like, it never happens in hockey.
Yeah,
not the teams are too good in the Stanley Cup Finals and in the playoffs. Like that just doesn't happen. But man, it's crazy. Like, no lead was safe.
Yep.
Changing goaltenders, like, it was insane.
It was fun.
Just insane. Good fun stuff.
Yep. Absolutely.
And had a concert too. On top
yes, sir.
Of all that.
I'm going to let you roll with it because it was your first time, like, really seeing them. So yeah, go ahead. What did you think?
Yeah.
Coheed.
This was Coheed and Cambria at the Agora. I showed up there. There was one section of street that people were afraid to park on for whatever reason. I parked there, and then when I left, everybody, there was a whole line of cars there. But I'm like, why is nobody parking here? but I successfully navigated the opening bands, which I was not a fan of either of listening to beforehand. Not good, but just not my thing. But I walked in there, the main support band played 2 songs, and then they were done. I sat down and then just waited 25 minutes for Coheed and Cambria to come out there, and it like blew. I had high hopes it was going to be good. I think I even said that last week. That I was kind of into them more, and I was really enjoying the set list, and I had listened to it enough times where like I knew all these songs pretty well, and like it. I was like, I think this is going to be pretty good. And from hearing you and Hendo talk about how you've seen them recently and how great they sound live, and I was like, all right, this is. I have good feeling it's going to be good, dude. When I went in there, I could feel like there was a buzz in the crowd, and like when they came out, and the first song, and like everybody in there knew every word to the first song, and there was times where Claudio, he just wouldn't even sing; he'd just play guitar and just stand by the microphone. It was unbelievable. It was a really unbelievable experience. Now it kind of fell off a little bit after that. It wasn't that great the whole way through, but I took a whole bunch of videos, and we're going to try to find a way to be able to play those on our podcast here, because we took them, and I see people play videos that they took from shows all the time on YouTube. So we're going to give that a shot at one of these days. But it was unbelievable, man. It was so good. I was so happy I listened to the set list and that it was the same, and just it sounded great, and they put on such a great show. Even having very minimal stage stuff, like those lights with the triangles and the 3 circles that they have, which is kind of like their logo-ish on these new albums. Like, it was so cool looking, and it's just a plain black backdrop. Like, there was just a plain black curtain. They didn't have anything else. But it was no screens. Like it was so good. So good. So anyway, what did you think of it? It blew me away, man. I came out of there.
Yeah. To me, it's a band that I've seen so many times. So to me, it's not surprising.
Old hat.
I mean, again, they still are so good. And what I really like that they do is, and you had kind of alluded to it with the set list, is to me, I've seen them probably 10, 15 times in my life. And every time I see them, they play different songs. Like they don't ever like fall in love with the same set list, right? Where you go and see one of these legacy bands, and Coheed is obviously not the popularity of these what I would call legacy bands, but they have like their set list, and they roll it out all the time. And even if you see a band like, I don't know, like Limp Bizkit or Linkin Park or something, like, probably 75, 80% of their set list. But if you don't look at Coheed and Cambria's set list, the only songs you could probably count on them every time playing is like Welcome Home. They always close with that. And probably maybe the first song they played. If they usually play that in Secrets of Silent Earth, the dome, like they always play that, I feel like. But other than that, man.
Oh God, I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah, but you're right from that beginning, the crowd, like every word, every part, like they were so into it. It was cool.
Yeah, it was great. And I had this like 7 foot tall dude in front of me too, and he wanted to dance all the time with his hands straight up in the air, and it kind of got annoying, but whatever. Like, that happens. It just happened to be where I was, and I was kind of stuck behind him. But like, it had the same energy, like I talked about on the podcast of Wolfie and Mammoth. Like there was a buzz before the band even started playing. Like you could just tell, you could feel it that these people were going to be into this show. People weren't at the merch table. They weren't in the bathroom. They didn't come trickling in by the third song from wherever they were. Like, they were in there. They were ready and waiting. Like, it was, dude, it was outstanding, man.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Like you said, energy.
Yeah, gonna be hard to top that for me this year for shows. It really is. There's gonna have to be a really good one out there to top that one. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and I've been seeing them since their third album, and I can't rave enough about how well Claudio has transformed himself as a singer and how different he is. Like, So again, my wife and my son were there. My son absolutely loved it, of course, but my wife, I wasn't sure because she doesn't know a lot of songs by them or whatever, but she's just like, I've heard you listening to them, and I would like to check it out. So she went. So when he did the acoustic song, like when he did it all by himself, like he blew me away. Like I don't love that song. To me, I think it kind of slows down the energy of the whole show, but I think mission accomplished. When I look over at my wife and she's got like tears streaming from her face, like she was into it. Like he was killing it, man. Like you don't think like Claudio, again, a lot of people are like, Coheed's cool, but man, I can't do that singer's voice, which, I agree early on. We talked about it when we did our podcast on them early on, he was really high pitched and it was really like, it was not super strong, but whatever he has done, I don't know if he's taken lessons. I don't know if he's just matured as a performer, I don't know what it is, but dude absolutely can kill it now with his voice. And that's just another weapon in the arsenal because the dude is a shredder. Like there's no doubt about it. Like he plays he's not a rhythm guitar player, but he's like they go back and forth. Him and Travis go back and forth on leads, but it doesn't matter if he's singing or not. He still plays the leads, and just to me that blows me away. I get the James Hetfield, the rhythm guitar while you're singing and stuff like that. He usually isn't playing his stuff. I mean he's a legendary rhythm guitar player, but Claudio, it doesn't matter. He will play leads while he's singing. It doesn't matter. So, dude just continues to earn my respect. He's got so much energy. Like when he's going to play a solo or when he runs and he dances and like the dude is just so full of energy. Like total respect. So awesome
the connection with the fans and like I almost felt like an outcast there, right? Because I haven't been into them as much as obviously all of these other people that are there are,
Yeah.
But and like you said about the set list, like you guys saw them. Okay, they were here. It was a year and 9 days ago. They were in Youngstown, and you and Hendo saw them outside, and that set list, and it's just they're touring for the same album. And that set list was 50% different than this one. Like, it's crazy how much they change it up. So, man, just huge kudos to them, dude. It was fantastic. They made a fan out of me. That's for damn sure. And you were talking about your wife. Like, I felt bad that I didn't bring my wife because she had told me when we listened to her the podcast, and she was like, I don't know, and maybe it was early stuff. She's like, I can't do this,
Mm-hmm.
But as we were listening to the set list, and she's like, I think I could go see this, and we kind of looked for some cheap tickets, but this all happened like the day before, day and a half before, so I was like, but man, once it got started and about 3-4 songs in, I'm like, man, she would have really liked this. So I told her, I said, we will go see them again, absolutely.
They tour the heck all the time, so awesome. Don't have to worry about them not touring. I feel like every year they're around somewhere. Yeah,
and like we said, like a year and 9 months ago, they were in Youngstown. That was on page 8 of the set list on setlist.fm. Page 8, and it was 1 year ago. That's how many shows. Like it was 10 on a page, 12, 14 on a page. Like it's hundreds of shows in a year. Like it's insane. Yep. But anyway, awesome stuff. So, but that's not why we're here.
We're not here for that reason, though. We probably could sit and do a whole podcast on
talk for another shows. 15, minutes. It's just going to be more of the same, though. I just loved it. So, and I can't even find words to talk about how much I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
But speaking of things I really enjoy, this band that we're going to talk about today, man.
Same.
Well, I love this band so much, and I feel like it's always like rhetoric at this point, but. Like, this is one of my favorite catalogs that we're going to do. These guys are, what did you say? They're bad proof. And I totally agree with that.
They're bad proof. Like they, because of the one guy we said right before, because of the one guy involved that writes and sings and plays guitar and doesn't get enough credit for any of it.
Yep.
because he's in the band, if you like what they do, you're gonna like everything that they do to some degree. Like they're bad proof. Like as long as that guy's around and don't decide they're gonna just put out something completely different, even though he has solo wise, and even that apparently is pretty good. So
Yeah, no, it's
know,
excellent.
it's this guy ridiculous. But anyway,
what I really like, and again, I know you're going to get to it here in a second when you start talking about the band, but a band from the Seattle area that immediately took, instead of more of a punk grunge route like a lot of the other ones did, these guys just went the metal route, and to me, I'm already in, like I'm already sold. So
yep.
Alice in Chains is awesome, but what do you got about Alice in Chains?
All right,
Mr. H.
Formed in 1987 in Seattle. You got Lane Staley on vocals, Jerry Cantrell, who we mentioned as the guitar player, singer, songwriter, pretty much Mr. Everything. Mike Starr on bass to begin with, and Sean Kinney on drums. So Sean Kinney and Jerry Cantrell have been in this band the entire existence. So from 1987 until today, which is 39 years. So that's pretty impressive as well. It's kind of like, it's often associated with grunge, like you said, but their style is really rooted in metal. So, and the producer, I think Dave Jordan, who produced the first couple albums, is the one that said it. I read it as I was going through and reading a bunch of stuff about this band, and it was something I hadn't heard before, but I couldn't remember if it was him or Toby Wright or Raskulinecz that said it, but I think it was Dave Jordan early on, said that Metallica took Tony Iommi and sped him up, and Jerry has slowed him back down, to which Jerry said exactly. And I'm like, that kind of sums up the main driving sound of this band. It's like doomy, and like it's these dark, thick, foreboding riffs that just sound like bad news, It's just, but he just writes so many of them, and they're never ending. They're so good, and he just keeps writing new ones, and you're like, how does this guy keep doing this? And keeps making them sound fresh. It doesn't sound like the same ones from 30 years ago, or now almost 40. It's just, the guy can, it's amazing. Lane Staley's voice is iconic as well. And now and even back then, at first it was a lot of Lane and some harmony stuff, but like they really got into more harmony stuff with him and Jerry started singing like some of his own songs on lead on these Alice in Chains albums too. And so the two of them together just sound amazing. But it was funny when they wanted Staley had joined a punk band, and Jerry Cantrell was living with Lane Staley. Didn't have a place to live. He was living with him, and then he got involved with Sean Kinney, who actually was dating Mike Starr's sister. So he found Sean Kinney, and he always really liked Lane Staley's voice when he saw him in clubs for other bands, and then kind of became friends with him and lived with him. And then, he's like, hey, we need a drummer. I want to start this metal project, because the band he was in broke up, but Lane was still in this other band. And so he gave him Sean's number, and Sean's like, hey, well, I know a bass player, it's my girlfriend's brother. So then they started jamming, and they really wanted Lane to sing in this band. They wanted him to sing lead vocals in this band because they all loved his voice, but he was still in this other band. They couldn't make him leave. So what they did was they auditioned terrible singers in front of Lane on purpose to give him the hint that they wanted him to join. They kept telling him, and they're like, look, this is all we can find. We can't find anything better. These guys, really, we're supposed to go out there with this guy, and we got you sitting right here. I'm like, just what a cool story that was. When I read it, I was like, man, that's great stuff. So anyway, this band really hasn't changed a whole lot over the course of their career. They changed a couple members, but like I said, with the rock in there, Jerry Cantrell, it really hasn't changed. So we get into 1990, and they release their first album, Facelift, on August 28th, 1990. 12 songs on here. This is Dave Jordan, who also helped them get signed. I first heard Man in a Box, obviously, on Headbangers Ball, and I had to go buy this album immediately. It's such a great song. and it didn't sound like anything else that was out there at the time. It was heavy, it had a lot of guitar in it, and I was like, man, this is really good. So I wish that I had seen them back then open the Clash of the Titans tour with Testament and Slayer and Megadeth, but I didn't. And I still don't know why I couldn't go to that show, but I couldn't. And I guess, they were repeatedly, Alice in Chains was repeatedly booed off the stage, though, on that tour. It always cracks me up how, like, my friends and people that had gone to the show, too, and some of them were like, it always cracked me up how they kind of revise history and proudly say, I remember seeing Alice in Chains when they opened up on that tour, and they were awesome. And I'm like, well, then how come everybody booed them off the stage then, So they really had to kind of find their way in the metal scene, because they kept it was like every metal band's favorite band at the time, but the people weren't really getting it, so it just, because it wasn't thrash and it was its own kind of heavy, so it took people a while to get used to them, but they really had to fight through a lot, and I think it made them closer as a band too, to kind of go through that, which really, I think it helped them. Other things tore them apart, but I think that helped them really create things, because they really had to come together and kind of hunker down as just the four of them and take on all this stuff that was coming to them. So, but they definitely have a sound all their own. It's kind of, out of the metal category, but it isn't exactly metal, but it's definitely a big part of the beginning of grunge, though. And, no one even knew what to call it, back then. So Dave Jordan, there's a couple other notes on some songs. Dave Jordan got the idea for the talk box on Man in a Box from hearing Living on a Prayer, of course, on the way to the recording studio one day, which I thought was cool. And the drummer, Sean Kinney, claims to have played on this first album with a broken hand, with a bucket of ice next to him that he'd use between takes. He broke his hand. I don't even know what he was doing, but he broke his hand, and apparently they brought in some other drummers. He's like, man, I don't know if I can play on this album. And he was trying to show them what to do, trying to get the same sound that he had with the band, but it wasn't working. He's like, I'll just do it myself. And so I guess he claims that's pretty amazing if he played this whole album, all these takes on a busted hand. But Jerry Cantrell called Love, Hate, Love the masterpiece of the record, and it's one of his favorite solos that he's ever written. He also said the song Sunshine was written about his late mother. And most of the album's music, as we were talking about earlier, and we'll continue to talk about throughout this podcast, most of the album's music and lyrics were written by Jerry Cantrell. I mean, again, this album, though, it kind of falls off at the end for me. The first 2/3 of this album is absolutely fantastic. It's phenomenally good. But it kind of falls off a little bit for me at the very end. My favorite songs on this album are the first four, which are We Die Young, Man in a Box, Sea of Sorrow, and Bleed the Freak. Bleed the Freak is one of those songs that I can't get out of my head once I hear it. And even though I'd listened to the whole rest of this album, I still can't get that one out of my head for whatever reason. Even today, and I haven't listened to this album for 5 days now, and even today I had Bleed the Freak stuck in my head. I don't know why. But, and those four, and It Ain't Like That. It Ain't Like That is seventh song on this one. It's probably my favorite Alice in Chains song. I don't know why. I couldn't even tell you. We'll talk about some other songs that I really, really like by them too. But this one, if it's not at the top, it's right up there. I absolutely love It Ain't Like That. There's no skippers. Like I said, it does fall off. The last kind of four songs for me kind of fall off a little bit after Sunshine. But I still have this as an A-, even with that. I do really, really like this album. And it opened me up to kind of a new kind of music that still fit with and had elements of music that I really liked. So I was like, nice. There's this whole other kind of band out there now that I can listen to that I really like. So yeah, it really started things off great for me. So I have an A-. I have this at number 2 in my catalog. What did you think of Facelift?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start my controversial takes right away. But I do want to say, no, not number 7. I do want to say though that this catalog, number 1, is outstanding, and there's literally nothing bad in it. So again, when I have to rank things 1 to 7, things that are going to be down at the bottom are also very, very good. I don't have anything here in the C range at
Me
all for
neither.
me. It's all
Awesome.
B and better
Yep.
for me.
Me
So
too.
I'm not skipping any. It's all, like you said, it's bad proof. So there's no skippers on the whole catalog. We're going to rank 7 albums. So we're going to include
Yes.
Jar of Flies because I don't think there's any way you could do a ranking of them and not do Jar of Flies. So we agreed to do Jar of Flies.
Yep.
But so we're going to rank 7 albums. For me, Facelift is, now this is a band I did get down, right away when it first came out, and it was pure accident. And I've kind of told this story before where I had a couple buddies in elementary school. Again, this came out in 92?
1990.
1990. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
1990. So I was 9 years old when this came out. I was elementary school age. I have a vague memory of being in the lunch line, and my friend had a Walkman, and I remember him showing me the case with the guy basically looking like he just got smashed in the head by a baseball bat or something. He looks like, he looks dazed and confused and whatever. I will remember that face the rest of my life. But so this kid in the lunch line, it has this little Walkman and the little cassette tape, and he's like, "You got to listen to this." And I didn't know what I was listening to. I was way too young to know what I was listening to, but I will always remember that moment. So, I was into these guys pretty early. That friend listened to them a lot. Who thought I had such cool friends at 9 years old? I didn't, but I remember this one. I remember Dr. Feelgood when it came out too. He had that cassette. He would always listen to it. So, there was early metal influences, even though that wasn't like my main type of music from the beginning. But yeah, I pretty much agree with you here. This album really took a hit for me listening to it this week because it's probably, if I had to and I am ranking them, but if I had to put it like full albums, right? I don't necessarily think this stands up with the best full albums that they've done because of the beginning of it being so strong, and I feel like such a letdown in the back. And it's not that I don't like these songs because I'm not skipping anything.
Right.
I really like songs like Real Thing as a closer and Put You Down in Confusion. These are good songs that I've listened to hundreds of times, but I don't think any of them really fit how good the first half of the album is. Legendary, We Die Young, Man in a Box,
Yeah.
Sea of Sorrow, Bleed the Freak. Love, Hate, Love is insane because you can really you can really feel like what you're getting into with this band. Number one, because of the droning, sludgy guitar that Jerry does, but the vocals, man, that you don't know Pain until you've heard Lane singing about pain. The dude is just oozing so much pain in his voice. That vocal performance of Love, Hate, Love is just out of this world, and agreed with Jerry himself that solo is phenomenal. But after that, and it Ain't Like That, which is phenomenal, those last 5 songs to me are just really not up to par with the rest of the stuff. So again, looking at this album as a whole, I can't just rank the first 7 songs, I have to do the full 12. So this one's surprising me. Number 5 on my list, and it's a solid B, but that's just listening to it these days. It's everything else that comes after this is just better from A to Z, right? And some things will take a little hit later because of being incomplete or being too long. But this kind of fits that for me. So as much as I love Facelift, and I'm not saying anything bad about it. Again, I'm not skipping any songs. But that's where it lands for me. Number 5 and a solid B. And I do want to shout out Sid Hearth loves Facelift, says Facelift is so good. Welcome, bud. Thanks for joining, and thank you for listening today. And please share your thoughts on the Alice in Chains discography as we go through it.
Yep.
But I have it number 5 and a B.
All right. I did mention I put Sap in here because it's got a couple songs that got released and did really, really well for them and continued their momentum from Facelift and kind of started to change or add to what this band could already do. So I didn't rank it. It's only 5 songs, but Sean Kinney had a dream. He fell asleep in the studio, and he had a dream they were recording an album called Sap. And then he told guys, and they decided not to tempt fate and decided they're in the studio. Let's record some songs. So
He called it
that
Sap.
was great. Yeah. So he called it Sap because that was the album they were recording in his dream. Brother was the first lead vocal for Jerry Cantrell. It's a fantastic song. And that and Got Me Wrong both got huge airplay as singles also. It also contains guest vocals from Ann Wilson of Heart on Brother, and Chris Cornell and Mark Arm, Chris Cornell from Soundgarden and Mark Arm from Mudhoney on the song Right Turn as Alice Mudgarden. So that's what they called it.
I love it.
Mudhoney, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains, they called it Alice Mudgarden. So I like that too. But again, there's some really good stuff on there too, and more kind of foreshadowing of what some other great stuff they'll do later, namely the Unplugged that they did. So anyway, we move on to 1992. So we're 2 years, 25 months later, September 29th, 1992. There's 13 songs on Dirt. Dirt gets released in 1992. This is pretty much, for me, this is the masterpiece of grunge for me. So no total album approaches this one in that whole 5-year explosion of all those bands and all those albums, of which there were some great ones. Nothing touches this album for me. So I could not listen to this album enough. I enjoyed listening to it again this time so much, like every single track. It's been way too long. This is the band that, like, everybody kind of has one of these that you love, and everything that they put out you like to some degree or absolutely love it. But for whatever reason, new stuff comes out and you don't listen to them enough. So when I stop, when I'm listening to all this other stuff, Coheed, all this other stuff that I'm into, for whatever reason, I'm going to see them or it just came out. There's been 5 albums so far this year that came out that I love too. So there's new stuff, but then I stop all of that and I listen to these albums and I'm just reminded of how much I absolutely love this band. And when I listen to this album, that's where it hits me the most. And I was like, man, how do I not listen to this album more often? Like, it never gets old. This thing's, 34 years old. It never gets old. This was written in the throes of heroin and alcohol addiction, with many songs written about the feeling and the problems associated with it, which would really come up later. But this was kind of all the guys in the band at this point, not just one guy. Again, this was mostly written by Jerry Cantrell. They toured with Primus, Rage Against the Machine, Tool, and Babes in Toyland on the Lollapalooza tour, which was, sadly, this is 1992. Well, it would have been 1993 for that summer tour, was the last major tour they played with Lane Staley. Like, think about that. This is their second album and their biggest album by far, and they never really had another major tour with Lane Staley after this one. That's sad, man. It's just sad.
Yep.
The song Wood was recorded earlier than the rest of the album for inclusion on the film Singles, on the soundtrack for that Cameron Crowe movie. That was basically about the Seattle grunge scene, with Matt Dillon, I believe, was starred in that one. They are also in the movie playing It Ain't Like That live in a club in one scene, which is another reason why I absolutely love that song. The song itself, Wood, was written as a tribute to Mother Love Bone singer and friend of Jerry Cantrell, Andrew Wood, who died of a drug overdose in 1990. Lane Staley also broke his foot in an ATV accident days before they were going to start touring on Ozzy's No More Tours tour, which, of course, when it came to Cleveland, we had Faster Pussycat and Ugly Kid Joe and did not get Alice in Chains, unfortunately. But they did do that first leg of that tour, and I guess he performed on crutches the whole time because he broke his foot. So the band also fired Mike Starr, the bass player, during touring for Dirt, and replaced him with former Ozzy bassist Mike Inez. And they basically fired Mike Starr due to drugs. His drug. I'm guessing he probably went on stage too sloppy a bunch of times. They're like, okay, if you can't even keep it together when we're going to go on stage, that's probably enough, because they were all doing drugs, writing songs about drugs, all drinking, all doing that stuff. So it wasn't just him, but he must have just took it too far. So my favorites on this one, I mean, I could just name them all. Them Bones, Damn That River, like that riff, dude. Oh my God. Junkhead. And that Angry Chair 007 like riff from Jerry Cantrell, like it's right out of a 007 movie, man, and it's so freaking good, so good. And then followed up with the bass line of Wood, like, oh God, it's just man. And at both of those songs, by mind you, at the end of a 13-song album. I mean, how on what planet does that even work? Oh my goodness, so good. There's no skippers on this album whatsoever. This is A+ for me. I don't give out many of those. This is A+ number one. I so enjoyed listening to this album again multiple times this week. Like I said, every single track. And I vow to not wait this long to listen to Dirt again, because it's just so phenomenally good, and it just never gets old. A+ number one, easily for me. What did you think of Dirt?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to what you said, because I 100% agree with everything you said. This is for sure a masterpiece.
Oh.
You can put this up against anything that came out around it. Nevermind, or
Rage Against the Machine, same year.
To me, this is just everything I want. It's the guitar is either super heavy, like Damn That River's riff, or it's super slow and just ridiculous, like Down in a Hole. Man, it is so dark and evil sounding. It's like you said, Angry Chair, that it's insane. I absolutely love this album. I was just listening to it before, because me and my wife were having a discussion. She was trying to guess what my number one would be, and she was pretty sure it was going to be something else. And I'm like, no, it's got to be this one. And I was playing her all the songs of this one. She's like, yeah, I get it. Like, every song is just a masterpiece. We kind of mentioned before, but like, this is where a lot of those chanting that they do, where Jerry and Lane harmonize with each other, and they kind of like, I guess, chant together, and it works. It's like ear candy to me. I can't get enough of it when they're just basically, because they're not really singing, because we hear Lane singing, and we of course hear Jerry singing, and then when they do that chant together, I don't know what decided that was an awesome idea, but it's such an awesome idea. I love it. They do it for like 2 minutes straight at the end of Rain When I Die, when it kind of fades out and fades back in. It's just the way they do that, and it is unreal how good that sounds. Like, it's almost like a fifth instrument that they're adding, right? And it's just another layer to the masterfulness that is Alice in Chains. So I love it, and I love, later on we'll get to it, the version that they do with the other guy when Lane's not there. They still, and they don't copy it, but they do a version of it, and it's so good. So to me, Jerry gets a lot of that credit, and he gets a lot of credit for stuff because he doesn't get it anywhere else. Like, I feel like he's underrated, and people toss this band in the garbage after Lane, when we'll get into it. I don't want to try to jump ahead, but the guy is so solid, and he deserves so much credit for these riffs and the vocals. I mean, he adds so much, and Lane is an incredible. Obviously, he's an incredible vocalist. He's amazing, but I just don't think that Jerry gets that credit. And this album is where it started. It's where they determined they were going to do these vocal harmonies, and what ended up was just amazing. So we haven't even mentioned Rooster yet. It's unreal song, and that's like a lot of that song is that chanting, right? But it's legendary. The whole setup to it, and such a powerful song.
Stay away from the biggest hits, but I love every song. So
every song.
Trying to pull out some deeper ones, but those are amazing songs too, and the Rooster actually written about Jerry's dad who fought in Vietnam and some stories that he told him. And him and his dad actually did some real bonding. Like they didn't always have the greatest relationship, and they really kind of bonded over a song that Jerry wrote, kind of about his experience and what he had heard about. And like, it kind of opened things up for them to talk about it, which is pretty amazing all in itself, So, and like I said, that's all stuff we didn't even mention. There's just so much in this album. It's so good.
Yeah. Yep. Sick,
so A+
sick man.
for you?
Sick man is I'm just looking at all these songs and I'm just playing them in my head. Well, 100%. Yeah, this is an A+. This is number one for me. I wouldn't say it's not even close, but actually it was pretty close. So that shows I got another one coming here that's right along the same lines. But the fact that this is 13 songs of greatness to me, it gets the nod. If you're going to give me 13 songs, and I know one of them is an instrumental, so mostly 12 songs, but 12 songs of gold, of literal greatness. Give it to me in my veins. I guess I shouldn't have said that.
Right.
That was in bad
they'll literally
taste.
do that if you want.
Yeah, they probably will.
Almost an hour long. We complain a lot about bands that put out stuff and they put too many songs on an album. That ain't the case on here, man. They could put 35 songs on here and I'd listen to all of them because it was that good. Yeah,
when it's that good, give me as much of it as you can.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Right.
Dirt number 1, A+. Yes, please.
All right. So on to Jar of Flies. So this was the EP we talked about that we crammed in here. It's got 7 songs on it. Even Spotify lists it as an album, even though it was originally released as an EP. But it's got 7 songs on it. This was Alice in Chains and Toby Wright. It says Alice in Chains produced, but Toby Wright was a huge help on this album too. He produced the next album with the band, but he's not really named producer. I mean, I'm sure I could probably find it in the notes on the actual CD that he's listed in there somewhere, but they talked, there's a lot of stuff about how he worked with them. He actually was a call that Jerry Cantrell made on the Dirt tour. So they fired Mike Starr and they brought in Mike Inez, and he called, like in the middle of while they're out there on tour and Mike Inez is in the band, he calls Toby Wright and says, "Hey, what do you want to collaborate on some music? Like I have some stuff I want to record." So Toby Wright, while Alice in Chains was on tour, booked them some studio time for over like 10 days. And this actually became a test for like writing and recording with Mike Inez, which, he passed brilliantly, obviously, just ridiculous. Like if there was a way that, that the bass could have been upgraded, like I feel like he might be a slight upgrade even from Mike Starr. And I just got done saying about how great the bass was on Wood and some of the other songs, that it's just phenomenal stuff. Now, not written really by Starr, but not really written by Inez either. This future stuff, like I'm sure Jerry has a big say in that, but just a great player and a great tone, and it fits so well with what they do, and he can sing as well. So, but this album, man, it's like amazing songs that didn't quite make it on Dirt. Remember, I was saying give me 35 songs on Dirt. Well, I feel like 5 songs on this album were probably supposed to be on Dirt, and just it's just they were that good. Like they just couldn't fit anything else on there. And then they decided to kind of quasi-acoustic record this, and it just wrecked me, man. Like it's so good, it just completely wrecked me. So I couldn't believe how good it was, how great it sounded in everything. On headphones, in my car, on a Bluetooth speaker. It sounds absolutely incredible. It really does. So, and it's weird because it's the one album that was just produced by the band. So apparently, but it sounds so good. And there's stuff, it's so spatial. There's stuff, it's just a headphone, ear candy. It's so good. Lane Staley. Now, you were talking about Jerry doesn't get a lot of credit, and he doesn't. He's got a great singing voice. He writes these great lyrics, and he also writes great riffs and great guitar parts. And he doesn't really get enough credit for any of that. So, but Lane Staley's kind of like the forgotten guy. Like he's got the voice, but everybody always kind of just put him in like this druggy category, And he did. He ruined his life, and he kind of ruined the band after a while. But at this point, listen to the praise that this dude gets, right? So Toby Wright says that Lane Staley wrote all the lyrics for all of these songs in the studio with Jerry, but most of it was him. And he said he worked really quick and really well, and he did all of his vocal parts in 1 or 2 takes. And he's the one that arranged the harmonies, to which Toby Wright, then said that Cantrell also has an awesome voice, and they couldn't do the harmonies without him. But Lane Staley's the one that put the harmonies together, right? So while Jerry's writing music, like he's writing harmonies, like he did awesome. A lot more for this band than people realize, So I just wanted to make sure he got some love too. But Jerry sings lead on the song "Don't Follow" as well, so he has one lead vocal track on here as well. Again, these guys are at the top of their game. They're recording all of their parts for this album in 1 or 2 takes. Like they're just pros. They know what they need to sound like, and it just sounds like unbelievably good. And this is the point where I can't believe I never put together before. Let's see, June 14th at 11:09 p.m. I wrote the time and the date in here. How much Pink Floyd and even the Eagles are present in the Alice in Chains catalog? Like Jerry's solos, it's so reminiscent of like David Gilmour. Like there's this quiet other music going on, and he just writes this kind of like almost sad, like crying almost solo in some cases. Like it's just so reminiscent of, I'm like, this is Pink Floyd right here. Like I don't know why that just never really hit me before. And their songs, like this is like the hard rock version of the Eagles sometimes too. Like you mentioned with the harmonies with Lane, not only do they do the droney stuff, but just when they're singing in choruses and stuff too, it actually has an Eagles quality to it. And the Eagles has got like 4 or 5 guys singing at one time, not just 2 or 3. But man, it just sounds so good. They sound so good together. It makes it elevates the whole thing. And like I was hearing some Eagles in there too, especially on the more acoustic stuff. I'm like, man, I can't believe I never really thought that much about it until I was listening to it just the other day. Don't Follow and Swing, the last 2 tracks on here, aren't my favorite songs. I know, Jerry sings Don't Follow. He does a great job on it. They're just not my cup of tea as far as like the songs, the way it was kind of country-ish sounding. And, those 2 aren't my favorite songs. But again, they do still sound amazing. And I'm not skipping them. They're just, I love the first 5 songs. I absolutely love them. And then the next 2, like, I'm kind of lukewarm on them, but they're okay. This was also a quadruple platinum EP. I bet there aren't many of those out there. Can you think of any EPs that go quadruple platinum? That's insane.
I actually have a fact I was going to share when I get into it. So
awesome. Again, Mike Inez joined on tour in '93 when Star got fired. I don't know why I had that note in the wrong place because I already mentioned that. But anyway, my favorites are like, man, that bass line in Rotten Apple, and then more bass greatness in Nutshell. Like I can't get over how great the bass sounds in here. And Whale and Wasp is amazing, and it's such a headphone experience. It sounds so incredibly good, man. Just put your headphones on and close your eyes and listen to this album. Like it sounds absolutely amazing. Skippers, like, like I said, other than, not really being kind of so-so on the last 2 songs, I still wouldn't skip them. And out of their albums, this is number 3 for me. This is a B+. Again, I love it up to the last 2 songs. I have Facelift lift higher because it's a whole album and it's heavier and also has amazing songs. But man, this one is actually pretty close to Facelift, which I was pretty surprised that I almost had Facelift 3. Like going into it, I thought for sure I'd have 1 and 2, and then we'll see where the rest fall from there. But since we threw Jar of Flies in here, I almost put this above Facelift. So anyway, just a little below Facelift, number 3 for me. What did you think of Jar of Flies?
Yeah, this is an incredible album. And not only is it incredible, but I really think it, like, to me, it was a relief when we both like easily agreed that it needed to be in their catalog. I couldn't imagine a catalog without this album in there because I feel like it was so important to the band's sound, not only just the acousticness of it, but just it highlighted everybody as being ultra talented. I feel like, so that they didn't have to do metal, right? But they were a metal band that could do these songs. It just really like widened everybody's palette, especially mine. And again, I'm really young and impressionable at this time, and I remember getting this CD, and man, it blew my mind. Like, I could see how special it was, and I didn't even really know a lot about music yet. Like, now, I've listened to a million albums in my day, right? And I know that this is just such an accomplishment, right, from this type of band to do this. But even then, I just knew how special it was. What I was going to say is how many artists, if you had to guess, would you say actually topped number one on the U.S. charts with an EP? If you had to guess, in the entire history of music, EPs that have reached number one, any type of music.
It can't be many. It really can't. I'm going to say, well, I'd like to say one.
No, not
but I'm going to
one,
say three. I'm going to keep it under five. I'm going to say three.
Yeah, it's actually eight.
Okay.
So there's been 8 EPs released in the history of keeping track, and this is one of 8. And
that's
a few other ones are one from the cast of Glee.
Okay.
Linkin Park's Collision Course with Jay-Z.
Okay. Yeah.
Considered an EP.
Should have thought
and
of
then,
that one.
And then more recent albums like The Weeknd and the band BTS. So right there is 4 of them that I mentioned. Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains is in that conversation. Quadruple platinum in the United States. Yeah. Insane. Even for Grunge's peak years, it's just unreal that this did so well. But with songs like Nutshell is my favorite Alice in Chains song, and I am embarrassed to almost say this, but I was not able to see Alice in Chains ever until about 4 years ago. First time and only time I've ever seen them. So of course, when they busted into Nutshell, I was ecstatic. Like, seeing it live is unreal. And again, it's not Lane now, but still, it's just such an incredible song. Probably, again, my favorite Alice in Chains song. It's so good. I Stay Away is another one that's up there for me. No Excuses was probably the biggest song.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that one off the radio. But Rotten Apple, it's just the haunting vocals of Lane and the bass to begin. Mike Inez was a great add to the band for sure. There's no doubt about it. So I actually do love both of the closing songs, Don't Follow and Swing on This. To me, it was always just a package. It's a half hour of greatness for me. Easy A+ for me. Again, it's perfect, but different than Dirt. Again, this is the conversation me and my wife had before. She's like, Jar of Flies has to be your number one. I'm like, it's not, but they're both A+. So how do you make the difference? To me, it was exactly what I said. Dirt has 12 songs of greatness. This one has 7 songs of greatness. So for me, I had to put the other one ahead. And plus the metal of it really helps. It has the metal riffs. This one doesn't, but it doesn't need it to still be a perfect album for me.
No.
And this is a perfect album for me. So I don't give a ton. I give more than you. For sure, I give more A+ than you. But in this case, Alice in Chains gets 2. So Jar of Flies, number 2, A+. Again, you only are getting punished, Jar of Flies, because you also created Dirt. That's the only way. Yeah. I could hurt
and
it.
Right before it, not like 4 albums earlier.
Yeah.
Like right before it,
Yeah.
So.
Right into it. Perfection really, into perfection.
It makes a lot of sense. You were becoming a teenager, so you were already into this band. So it kind of just lines right up for you. It's perfect. Yep. So, but yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. All right, so on to the Tripod album. I'm going to keep referring it to Tripod rather than self-titled or Alice in Chains. I've always called it that. It's got
or the Dog album.
On it. Yep. This is October 31st, 1995. 12 songs on this one. There it is. This is Toby Wright and Alice in Chains producing this one. All right. So this is tough because there's a few really, really good songs here, but there's just so many kind of throwaway songs. Not skippers. There's a difference.
Yep.
But like subpar songs for Alice in Chains for me. Now, there's also a lot of other stuff that goes into that. Like this was really difficult time for the band, and Lane Staley is in particular. Like I feel like the other guys were kind of getting cleaner or keeping their stuff together, and Lane Staley was, the band didn't do anything for a year and a half. They didn't tour. They didn't do anything. They recorded Jar of Flies, and that was it. They did nothing else because of Lane's opiate addiction. So then, while they were on this hiatus, Lane Staley decided to join Mad Season, with a couple guys from Pearl Jam or whoever. And that album's okay too, but they put out an album due to, this Alice in Chains not touring or not really doing anything because of his addiction. Like, that's kind of ballsy, if you ask me. So the band got a lot of questions about, you guys breaking up, like Lane singing in this other group now, like what's going on. So right after that Mad Season album came out, it was called Alone, I think, or something like that. But anyway, right after that came out, they got in the studio and kind of went to record what would be Lane Staley's last album with the band, sadly, in 1995. So it's only really album number 3. We're counting 4 with Jar of Flies, but really only the third album. Again, there's just songs that sound like Alice in Chains, but just aren't great on this one, other than a few really great songs. So it's really top heavy as well. I can't believe today where I have this one ranked, but it is what it is. Like I'm telling you, in 1996 or even 1995 when this came out, and I was listening to it all the time. Maybe this was the one where, like, I'm 23, right? So maybe I'm a little under the influence, and I'm just kind of chill mode listening to this, and I thought this was a much better album in 1995 than I think it is now. There's definitely a couple clunkers on this one for me. My favorites are Grind, Sludge Factory. Again, is one of the classic Alice in Chains songs. Like how that one didn't make it on another album before this one, I don't know, but that's an absolute classic. Like you still hear that one all the time. Like you'll hear it on, bumpers coming in from like a sports talk radio show, coming in from commercial. You'll hear again, like it's just that riff in there. It's just so accessible and it's everywhere. Over Now is really the only song I like later on in this album, and that was kind of a big hit for them too. But that is one of my favorite songs. So I really like 4 songs on here. Now originally I didn't have any skippers, but then I listened to it again because I kind of needed to take more notes because this one just didn't really do it for me when the first time around. It didn't really get much better. But I was just like, man, like what is it about this album that I was trying to put my finger on? So when I listened to it the second time, I got like Shame on You and the Nothing song are both really, really subpar kind of songs. Now, the thing with these songs on this second half of this album is it gets kind of stale, but the problem is I still like parts of the songs. I just don't like the whole songs aren't great, but I like parts of them. Again, how can anything be terrible where Jerry Cantrell's involved? At least for me, it's obviously not even close to their best work, but there's still parts of all these songs that I like, and I'm like, wow, this is what Jerry did there, or wow, do you hear this piece of a riff over here that kind of doesn't really work with the rest of the song, but it's really good, or this solo is fantastic. It's just the rest of the songs just aren't great, and Lane isn't really great either. So, and they try to do their harmonies, and it works sometimes on a few songs and doesn't really work on some other ones. And there's other things where Lane himself is just kind of droning on about whatever. There's a lot of weird vocal choices in here too. A lot of like things that you don't normally hear Lane Staley or Jerry Control sing in a song. It's just, weird little parts where you're like, what was that? It's just odd choices in here. But again, not their best work. So I have this at number 6 out of 7 albums. And like I said, 1995 me would have been like, you're crazy. They're not going to come out with anything that much better than this. But man, it really is not their best work, man. But again, it's never terrible with Jerry involved. So the Tripod, I have B-, number 6. What did you think?
So you actually just kind of talked to me. I just moved it a spot. I actually had it one higher. I'm now dropped it. I've now moved Facelift up to number 4. So that kind of tells you.
Okay.
I had this at 4 and Facelift at 5, and now I'm thinking about it. Like, I can't with a straight face put this ahead of Facelift. I don't know what I was thinking. They are kind of similar albums for me because of the fact that they're half really good and half kind of to me. So they're very similar in that way. But to me, I sitting here thinking about you going through the songs, I do think the stronger ones are better on Facelift. So there you go. So
yeah,
that's 4. This is going to be number 5. It'll be. It's like the same thing. I do like Grind. I do like Brush Away. Sludge Factory is probably one of the most underrated songs.
Yeah,
It's
really
pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love Heaven Beside You, even though it basically has nothing to do with Lane at all, other than the chorus. And a lot, this album just feels weird when it regards to Lane. And if you didn't know what was going on, like behind the scenes, you would be totally confused because it's just strange. Like Grind, Heaven Beside You, Over Now. It's a lot of Jerry and not a whole lot of Lane, and it's just strange. You mentioned again, that's still a classic song. They opened with that when I saw them, the one and only time. I do like a few, like Shaman You, I think is pretty good. Over Now, it's creepy to me is the last words that they say in this album is basically it's over now. It's the last words ever stated man, there was so many times where I feel it's almost ominous how it feels like Lane was just like predicting the future and so many things that he said.
Yeah.
Going back to Jar of Flies, that basically the whole song is just, just scary, right? Like we're talking
like you
about
said, he
nutshell.
Like you said earlier that he like he has so much pain, like that comes through in his vocals, and it's like he lived what he was singing. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, I think you're right. Like it fits so well with what he did to himself in his life. He lived those words, like he wrote them down and then he lived them, and it's so eerie. It's really weird.
It is really, really, really kind of creepy, but yeah. You've just kind of swayed me, I guess, like thinking about it. I just couldn't, they're pretty close to me. Like I like the good stuff on this. I like a lot. And the good stuff on Facelift, I like a lot. And then there's like 5 tracks on each album, which I think they kind of feel throwaway to me. Like they wrote their best material and now it's just filling out the rest of the album. That's the way it feels for me. Not skipper quality for me. Like they're not bad, but they're just not great. So I'm going to put this at number 5. I'm moving Facelift up to 4. And it's a solid B. Again, when they nail it, they nail it. There's some legendary songs on this album, but it's just from 1 to 12, it is just not there. I feel like you could have just done probably a 9-song album here, and it would have been probably much better. So,
Chop Out, Goddamn, Nothing Song, and Frogs, and then it's probably a much better album. Honestly.
Probably, yep. So it just doesn't live up as much. I think we just wanted Alice in Chains then. It was just like we didn't know if we'd ever get him again. And
well, and it only came out a year or so after Jar of Flies, right? So Yeah, a year and a half. But like they were putting out stuff at a pretty good pace, and I was like, all right, another Alice in Chains album. Like, and it wasn't that far off. And I guess just like I said, 23-year-old me was like, man, this is good. Again, you just sit back, put in your headphones, have a few drinks or whatever else you're into, and like it kind of fits, fits the mood and whatever. But it's really not that good. It really isn't. All right. So on to 13 years go by, 14 years until the album comes out, but 13 years until they start recording again. Lane passed away in 2002, so they went and put out Black Gives Way to Blue on November 29th, 2009. So there's 11 songs on here. This one and I believe the next two are all going to be Nick Raskulinecz.
Yep.
Who we have talked about many, many times. Now, he definitely is a good producer, right? So, and this, like almost all, actually all their albums, not almost all, but all their albums, it's really solid. Like, but to me, this doesn't sound as amazing as, say, like Jar of Flies does. I mean, it's good. I'm not saying it sounds bad because it doesn't. But I feel like by this time, like, they just kind of have the dial set. They know what to set. They keep the same sound. So I feel like for Nick on this one, it was kind of a Ron Popeil like set it and forget it with this band. Like you just don't want to screw it up. So I don't think there's anything overly like great sounding about this one, but it's not bad at all.
Well,
either.
Jerry was all over it too. He produced it with Nick.
Yeah. Well, true. And it does say Nick Raskulinecz and Alice in Chains, which generally is Jerry.
Yeah.
So. But again, like it just to me, like you put this in the headphones, it doesn't sound anywhere near as good as Jar of Lies did. So maybe there's more.
I don't
more
think anything in the
on
world
here,
does.
Probably not. Probably not. But anyhow, William Duvall takes over vocal duties here. He's kind of a co-lead singer at this point, with Jerry. He is great though. And it's great that they also found a guy that fits so well with what they do, in William Duvall. And it still has all the songwriting, guitar, and vocals of Jerry Cantrell along with William, and still the same rest of the band. So how could it not be good?
Right.
So
yeah,
I remember this album really kind of surprised me, and I liked it pretty much right from the start. And I liked it so much more than I ever thought I would. And that really hasn't faded for me. Listening to it this time around a couple times again was an absolute joy. I mean, I really like a lot of these songs. And I was like, man, it really hasn't faded. I kind of felt like this was always the best one of the William Duvall group of albums. But I actually think this is better than at least one other, of Lane's albums. So, yeah, this one is really good. So the end of this album does kind of plod on a little bit for me. I like 2 of those 4 songs, but for me, they suffer. This is the downside. Like they suffer in a couple of these albums with sequencing. Like they put songs, now they write a lot of these songs, so I know it's hard to split them up, but they write these kind of droning songs and then they put like 4 of them together that all kind of sound the same. So then I kind of get to the point and where they're not standout songs, like they don't have a standout chorus or some different guitar solo or something else about it that stands out to me. It kind of gets to the point where I'm like, okay, where am I at? I kind of lose my bearings in the album. I'm like, where am I at on this album? Because these songs, they kind of start to sound the same. So, but again, there's nothing here that I would skip at all. It gets to where they all just kind of sound the same. And I think it would be an improvement if they kind of split them up a little bit better. But anyway, I love that they found a guy that fits what they do. And All Secrets Known for me is probably is a top 5 AC/DC. It's a top 5. It's so good. It's a top 5 AC/DC song. Too.
Yes, it is.
It's a top 5 Alice in Chains song for me. I mean, it's classic Alice in Chains. honestly, I don't even miss Lane Staley here, sadly. I mean, rest in peace, bud, but I don't even miss him on this song. It's so good. It's so good. It's such like an Alice in Chains song, just a classic song. But anyway, I like that one. Check My Brain is amazing. Last of My Kind is amazing. A Looking In View is amazing. I mean, there's only 11 songs in here. And I really like Black Gives Way to Blue. Now, I did just mention about how these last 4 songs, they kind of drone on a little bit, but I like Lesson Learned and Black Gives Way to Blue. Those are my 2 favorite of those 4, but they all just kind of sound the same, and I just wish they weren't together on the album. So I think they would stand out more if they weren't together. But again, no skippers for me. This is like B plus range again for them. This is 4 for me out of their 7. I wasn't sure, what to expect when I first heard about this album coming out with a different singer. But of course they can still produce good music. Of course it's still Jerry Cantrell and it's still the other 2 dudes. It's still Mike Inez and Sean Kinney. Like, of course it's still good. I don't know why I ever doubted it. It came out, I listened to it, I'm like, yeah, this is fantastic. Like, what was I worried about? So anyway, I got this at number 4, is kind of right in the middle of the catalog for me, but it's still really, really good. Black Gives Way to Blue. What did you think?
Yeah, I absolutely love this album, and I think that it is so underrated.
Yeah,
I think it stands with the greatest of Alice in Chains stuff. The way I look at it is like, this is the time that Alice in Chains is in their prime, right? Like, they're stepping into it. Unfortunately, they lost their lead singer, right? But like we've been kind of banging the drum for this whole time, like the innards of this band is still there, and Jerry is still writing the leads, and he's still doing his vocals. Like, this album to me is just the next step. Like, it's hard for people to get past No Lane, and I understand that. He was so unique in the way he sang, and I will give Alice in Chains credit, specifically Jerry in this case, because not only did they figure out a way to almost not skip a beat when Lane passed, but they took what William does and they tweaked it so it doesn't sound the same as the chanting that it did with Lane. It's almost where they switch spaces in the mix, where like Jerry was more of the lower end and Lane was more of the higher end. I feel like they almost switch where Jerry's more like the lead and where William is more the backup singer in this. And it works. It totally works. And I think William does a fantastic job of not sounding like a Lane clone, but yet fitting the role of what Lane did very, very well, to where there are moments on it where I'm like, I can't imagine Lane doing this song. I just hear William doing it because it sounds so great. So yeah, as soon as this album came out, it didn't leave my CD player. Like, I think I was probably more into this than any of my friends at the time that I knew.
Me too, for sure.
I got Hendo really into this album because I think he just kind of overlooked it. And now if you ask him, I think he would tell you that this is a masterpiece. It's phenomenal. I absolutely love this. Now, is it a tier up with Dirt and Jar of Flies? No, it's not that. But it is directly the next step of Alice in Chains for me. I love everything on here. I'm glad you shouted All Secrets Known. I think that is such a gem in their catalog. God. It's unreal. That the whole
switch to the guitar, like in the middle of the song, is just that whole passage right there. It's like, where did this come from, and why isn't this its own song? Because it's so good. It just switches, and you're like, what? Oh,
yeah, God. That whole outro just gives me goosebumps. That guitar is so good. I absolutely love All Secrets Known. Check My Brain, like you said, is great. Last of My Kind. I love Your Decision as well. Like, to me, that was like their sappy ballad that was on the radio. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I was going through stuff when this album came out, like my first marriage and divorce and stuff like that. So I'm sure that all kind of fit into where you are in your life. But some of these songs just kind of take me back. And, everybody always says this album got me through so much. I really do feel like this is that one for me. Just the timing of it that came out when things in my life were happening. This is what I clung to is this album. And it's it's just like Alice in Chains. It's haunting. It's heavy at times. Other times it's just dark and just grungy and slimy and dirty and acid bubble. I go to, and it's a great song. A Looking in View is so good too.
Yeah.
You mentioned too the title track, which is just a phenomenal 3-minute banger to end it. It hits so hard for me. But yeah, I absolutely love this album. Like, I could drone on about it forever. It's phenomenal, and it does not get the respect it deserves. I can't stand that people just threw it in the garbage because it's not Lane, and I get why you want to do that. Almost feel like you're betraying him, but he was a very troubled person and made really selfish decisions, I feel like. And not only did the fans lose him, but really, like, his family lost him, and I'm talking about his music family too. And they left them in the middle of their prime. Like, what are we supposed to do? And I feel like they did exactly what they should have done here and just made a banger of an album. So this is number 3 for me. This is an A-. Again, not quite up to where Dirt or Jar of Flies is, but man, it deserves some shout out, man. Black Gives Way to Blue is so good. Anybody out there listening, if you've thrown this out and say, you know what, it's not Lane Staley anymore, I can't, you're doing yourself a disservice. This is a phenomenal set of songs. Jerry is the pilot of this, and he was from the beginning too. It's not like anything, he wrote a lot of the music. We talked about it before. So the guy, I think, has always been the pilot. Lane has been his co-pilot for a while, and I just still think the band it just took off right where it left off. So great album. Number 3, A- for me.
All right. Yeah, it's I had my reservations before it came out, but the second that it got into my ears with those first 2 songs, I was like, what was I even thinking? I mean, really? It's so good. All right, so Devil Put Dinosaurs here, May 28th, 2013, 12 songs on this one. Nick Raskulinecz again. Does it say with band? Yeah, it does. So with band. Again, same producer, same sound. Has it pretty dialed in on the Alice in Chains setting, not on the knobs. They probably have them marked on the board. This is where you set Alice in Chains stuff too.
Yep.
Yeah, my buddy Rob was right though. This album isn't that great. Like, I remember being pumped about this. I remember telling you last week too. I remember being pumped about this album when it came out, and partly because I really like Black Gives Way to Blue. So I'm like, I was predisposed. So I was like, I'm gonna like this album. I'm gonna make myself like this album, right? So I was pumped about it, and I listened to it a lot. And he was like, "What? Which album are you talking about?" And I'm like, the Dinosaurs. Really? You think that's good, huh? I mean, it's not terrible, right?
Yeah, no,
but
it's not
also not real memorable either, outside of maybe 3 or 4 songs. So, just not a whole lot of this one really sticks with me. As much as I listened to it back then, you'd think more of it did, but that kind of tells you too that it just really isn't that great for me, because not a lot of it really stuck with me. Some of it I was like, I don't remember even hearing some of these songs before, but I know I did because I crushed this when it came out. But also, Jerry had shoulder surgery, which delayed the recording. It took more than a year to record, so that kind of threw things off a little bit too, which is why it took like 4 years to get this one out. But they would just write like fragments of stuff while touring and rehearsing. And this is what William Duvall said. And this is kind of cool. This is the kind of stuff that always interests me. Like, how do these bands create? Like, how do they write stuff? Many bands write stuff on the road. So apparently they come out with fragments of stuff, they little harmonies, little choruses, little riffs, and just record stuff. And then eventually they get like this big pile of it, and they sift through it. What they had, and they sifted through all this stuff. So they had, for Jerry at least, from 1995 all the way until 2009. So they had been compiling this stuff. Now William wasn't with them the whole time, but they were compiling Alice in Chains pieces and parts this whole time. So it makes a lot of sense to me then that they had 13 years and then come out with an album that was really, really good. Really good. And because they had a lot more to choose from. And then this one, you have you have Jerry surgery. You have not as much time in between albums. Like, I'll bet this is some of the stuff that's secondary, like that didn't make the last album. And then to me, this kind of makes more sense to me as to what's going on here, because some of it's similar. There's some really good songs here, but for the most part, it's kind of not up to the level of the last album, and it kind of feels like that's what it was. Like their pile of stuff was kind of dwindling a little bit because they used a lot of it on the last album. And now they're like, okay, what's left here? So anyway, but this is their weakest album for me, and it was pretty easy. My favorites on this one are Hollow, Stone, that bass again in Stone. Oh,
so good, yeah,
so good. Phantom Limb I like, and Choke is pretty good too. Skippers again, there's some of it to me is kind of borderline skip, kind of but again, the album sound and the guitar is so good that I just keep them playing, right? I don't skip them. I just let it go. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of this song when it's on, but it's good enough. And then I let the next one, okay, I'm not as big a fan of this one, but I just let it play. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as I didn't skip anything on here, but it's definitely their weakest material in total. So again, this is kind of down around the Tripod area for me. I'll give Tripod the edge based on the really good songs that are on that one. And, and Lane still really did some great stuff on that one too. But this is just the weakest collection of songs in total from them. But again, not a bad record in the bunch, really. So I have this B-, but number 7. So it's the bottom of the barrel, but nothing got out of the B's for me. I can still listen to every one of these albums. So what did you think of The Devil Put the Dinosaurs Here?
Yeah, I'm right with you here. This is easy their worst album. Again, to me, I just don't think the songs are as good. I don't think there's any other explanation for me why this is the last ranked album. And again, I don't even think it's that close, even though I have this B- as well as I have the next album we're going to talk about. But I do think this one, the songs are just in totality not the greatest. It does feel like B-sides for me. There's a lot of times going through some of these songs that I'm just, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot of effort was put into it. And I don't think that's true, but to me, it just feels less than. You pretty much nailed the songs that I like as well. I do like Scalpel, and the reason I do, and it's weird that I do because it's kind of country-ish, but I've talked about this with you before, is a lot of Lane's stuff, it is based in like a country type playing. Like, that he has country as like a big influence to him. And again, most Alice in Chains stuff, he doesn't get into that realm very often. But to me, I think he's really good at it. I think he can transfer a lot of his stuff into more of a country feel, which is why the solo album that he did that's kind of a country album, I think is actually pretty good. And it's not a lot of that style of music I listen to, but I just respect him so much as a guitar player. At least it felt like taking a chance on this album that they put that on here. And I like it.
You know what else I had mentioned earlier that does have a lot of country in it? The Eagles.
Yep.
So
you're right.
It just fits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
You can tell. You can hear it in there for sure.
Yeah. So, Hollow is great. Stone is phenomenal. Stone is by far the best song on this album.
Yeah, agreed.
And I liked Scalpel, but other than that, a lot of Unforgettable. The title track, Unforgettable. Lab Monkey, it's forgettable, not unforgettable, forgettable. Low Ceiling, like right when it hits that middle of that album, it really feels like a lull. Not bad stuff, but just not great. So yeah, this was easy for me. Number 7, B-. I'm right alongside you. Not their best at all. I was glad when the next one came out because it did feel a little bit more like the songs were a breath of fresh air. So
yes, agreed. Yeah, I was worried about where you were going to have this last one here. So on to I'm going to try my best not to call it Rainy or Fog because I always want to call it that. I don't know why. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Mount Rainier. It's Rainier Fog. It's a mountain in Washington. It's always got fog around it because it rains up there all the time. Like,
Well, in the
I don't know
title,
why I want to call it Rainy or Fog. Like, that's even a dumb thing to even say, Rainy or Fog. Like, it's not, if it's raining, it's not fog, right?
right?
It's
Well,
different.
if
So it's
in
so
the
funny.
title track where they say the name of the song, the phonetic of it does make it sound like rainier,
Yeah.
but it's like a drawn out line that it's
Yeah,
the rain or fog.
Right,
So
right.
it can throw you off if you're not familiar with Mount Rainier. It can definitely throw you off.
So I'm gonna do my best. Rainier Fog, August 24th, 2018. They release a lot of albums in August and September, I've noticed.
Yeah, they do.
But they're pretty much the fall guys, I guess. So 10 songs on here. This is Nick Raskulinecz again, and let me check. Is it and band? Probably.
Yep.
And it is. All right. This is another good, solid sounding album as usual. I wish, again, this I'm going to talk about again, that I wish they were a little more mindful of track selection.
Yeah.
So on this one, and I actually put the three that I wanted to talk about in here, and that's Fly, Drone, and Deaf Ears are all kind of the same, almost feels like one really long song and can kind of get old. Now, I really like, though, the first two of those songs, but then by the third one, I kind of come out of that trance that like Alice in Chains puts me in, and I need something more rockin' and less drony, pun intended. That I need something to kind of pull me out of that. Like I kind of come out of it, and I'm like, man, we're still going with this same thing here. Like I need something else. But again, some outstanding solos on here, on Fly, on Drone. Very like Pink Floyd, David Gilmour sounding stuff on those two songs, like I had mentioned. Like just put those on and listen to the solos and tell me that it doesn't just scream Pink Floyd to you.
Oh yeah.
So and I also wanted to put a note in here that this is an album that I really, I got away from Dinosaurs and I didn't listen to it much anymore. And this one kind of got by me a little bit. Like I put the note in here that I'm really enjoying listening to this album way more than I thought. Like as I was listening to it through the second time. This is also the first album they recorded back home in Seattle since Tripod 22 years earlier. My favorites are The One You Know, Red Giant, Fly, again, great solo, Drone, and So Far Under. So, I mean, that's 5 songs out of 10. So, apparently I like this one a lot more than I thought I did before, and I really enjoyed listening to this one a lot this time around. Again, it gets a little slow at times, especially when you got all the same stuff in the row, but just nothing to skip here for me for sure. This is all pretty good. Like, I feel like this is quite a bit better than the last album. Now, I only rank it 2 spots higher. I do have this above Tripod because even though that one's got bigger songs on it, I like more of this album in total than I like that album. So that's why this one kind of got the nod over that one. But I got to listen to not only Alice in Chains more, but I got to listen to this album more because this one's better than I ever gave it credit for. And it's not quite as good as Black, Black Gives Way to Blue, but it's pretty good. It's better overall than Tripod for me, or at least equal to it, but still has potential. We'll put it that way. But
Yeah.
this one I could see moving, up in letter rating. Like this is never going to be as good as Black Gives Way to Blue or Jar of Flies or Facelift or Dirt for me. So it's probably always going to be 5, but I think there's room for me to like this one even more than I do now even. So I need to give this one more listens. So I have this number 5 as a good solid B, maybe even approaching a B plus here with Rainier Fog. What did you think?
Yeah, I really liked it too. This is really good. It's just 1 spot ahead, number 6, but to me, I think there's a substantial gap. Even though they're both kind of B to B minus for me, this one's probably closer to the B, and Devil is more B minus. But again, really good stuff here for sure. One You Know is just really cool, and it's real simple, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
the riff is
sure.
it's just really just chugging the real slow. I love the title track of Rainier Fog. I think is really cool. I think they played that live when I saw them. Really, really cool. I do like Fly a lot. So Far Under is great. That's a Duvall written song, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love All I Am as a closer. Like, to me, it's a little long. It's a little long closing. Like, when you're at the end of an album, I do like the title track on Black Gives Way to Blue a little better, because I feel like it's 3 minutes. It's more compact, like getting what you need. But this is a great closer. To me, it's kind of neck and neck with best closer post Lane Staley. I think it's really, really good. So yeah, there's a lot of highlights to this album. It's really, really good. I still think I'm going to keep it behind Tripod. I just still think Tripod has those handful of like legendary classic songs. It's really, really hard to pass that up for me, but I totally get it, because this is a really, really good album. Just a lot of highlights in it.
Yeah, like top to bottom. It's more just solid overall.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, for me, it's like I said, a B, number 6. But yeah, it's fantastic. It was. I remember listening to this. I was like, okay, well, while I didn't dislike the Dinosaur album, this is definitely a step up. So again, they're still writing. I don't know what more we're gonna get from them. I was supposed to see them at Sonic last year, and they canceled. I guess Sean Kenny is dealing with some pretty bad health issues. So I did see Jerry last year though with his solo band. So that was really, really cool. I really respect Jerry Cantrell a lot. Again, I think he's one of those that maybe flies under the radar when people think about the greatness, especially even the Seattle. Like, I don't think he gets quite the look as even Lane in his band, or Kurt Cobain, or things like that, or even Chris Cornell. But he's, just a creative force, and it's just written so much great stuff. And, the fact that he keeps those harmonies and stuff alive, it's his thing. Just great singing voice, for an axe man that he is. So, fantastic band. I love Alice in Chains. So, it was a pleasure to do this.
It really was. Yeah, it really was.
Just one of those where, everything was at least good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like, this one's really bad. Even Dinosaurs, which wasn't great, we both agreed. Again, I didn't really ever want to skip anything. So, So. All right.
Yeah, I have another I had another big kind of overarching thought on guitar players that the ridiculousness of great guitar players that we've been blessed with over our lifetime, that are basically between your age and say early 60s, right? So there's just an insane amount of great guitar players, but we'll get into that another time, because that'll take way too long. But I mean, I had names just popping in my head like popcorn. I'm like, man, I probably came up with 20 out of the top of my head. Just outstanding guitar players. I'm like, we're so lucky that, like, way more than before that. Yes, there were some really good ones then too, but man, the explosion. And like, even now, like, a lot of these guys too were great when they were 20. They were great when they were 18, 22, 25 years old. I'm not seeing anybody out there now that's picking that up. There's not this huge group of dudes or women out there that are just phenomenal guitar players and write just these ridiculous riffs and stuff like we've had in our lifetime. Like, we'll like I said, we'll have to get into that another time.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many, man, so many. Anyway, I'll try not to talk about it anymore. Overall, okay, I got number 7, Devil Put the Dinosaurs here. Number 6, Alice in Chains, self-titled, Tripod. Number 5, Rainier Fog. I almost did it, but I didn't. 4, Black Gives Way to Blue. 3, Jar of Flies. 2, Facelift. And 1, the unbelievable masterpiece that is Dirt. What about you?
All right. Number 7, Devil Put the Dinosaurs here. Number 6, the Rainier Fog record. Number 5, I have the self-titled Tripod album. Number 4, Facelift. Number 3, Black Gives Way to Blue. Number 2, A+, Jar of Flies. Number 1, A+, Dirt. Again, Dirt gets the nod just because 12 songs as opposed to 7 on the EP. But again, 7 perfect songs to me. Dirt, 12 perfect songs to me. So just a phenomenal top of the catalog and consistent as well. So they they're top heavy and consistent, which is great.
Yep. Very much so. All right, man. I think that's a wrap.
Yep. Excellent.
I don't have much else to add. I try to get every story in there that I could.
Yeah, no, great stuff.
Man. Yeah, it was good. It was really enjoyable. As most of these are, but this one especially. So as a band I've always liked to some degree or another. I don't think I ever got to the point with this band where I was out on them, you know.
Yep.
I don't think that ever happened. I was nervous going into Black Gives Way to Blue because I didn't know what to expect until I heard it. And then I was like, oh geez, you know.
Yep.
You know, and then continue on and better or worse stuff, whatever, but it's all good. So
yeah,
I never had to give up on this band. So consistent.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome.
Next week we may not meet on a Tuesday. I do have to work next Tuesday, so we will either do Monday or Wednesday, whatever we will talk about it. But one of those days we will be on here, and we will be doing another band next week.
The letter B.
Letter B, season 3 of the Two Bobs Cast. Thank you for Sid Harth for checking us out and leaving a comment. We appreciate it. And everybody else that's come in and out, thanks for stopping by. And until next week, we will see you in the next one.
Rock on.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.